right now. Good evening, everyone. The Irish Hammer here with you alongside Joshy Boy. Going to take a look at week two's college football slate. Last week, we gave out 24, count them, 24 winners. We had 6 that we missed on combined. So out of the 30 games, that's 24 tickets to go to the window. So, Josh, I'm not saying we're good or anything, but I think folks would be hard pressed out there to find anybody that had as good a week as we did.
Yeah, I agree with that.
To kick off week one. So, congrats on your plays. I know we
You
mirrored a
too.
few of those, but you also had a couple in there. I completely, totally went flat on a couple that just were blowouts. I got snagged by the hook on one. But all in all, I will never complain out of hitting 24 out of 30 bets. I promise.
Same.
So, all right. So, no Thursday games this week because the NFL are stingy and prima donnas and look at me girls. So,
Yeah.
they get the spotlight tomorrow with the defending champion Eagles and the Cry Boys from Dallas. So, our Thursday game, our Thursday slate this week is pushed back to Friday. And a handful of games on the slate for Friday, 83 games on the slate total in FBS. So another big weekend. So, Josh, what do you have for the fine folks for Friday?
I'm going to kick it off with the first game in the Friday slate, 7 p.m. my time, James Madison in Louisville. I'm going to go Louisville first half minus 7.5. Miller Moss coming over from USC in Jeff Brom's offense. I believe the Louisville Cardinals will cover the spread 7.5 first half against James Madison. Don't get me wrong, James Madison is a really good power four bunch, coached by Bob Chesney. But I like Louisville to get it done, lock it in. Louisville first half minus 7.5.
All right. So, you're drinking the Big Red Kool-Aid from up
Yep.
there in the good part of Kentucky.
Yes.
All right. Well, I also have a play on this game. And 7.5 first half. That's okay. It doesn't totally contradict what I'm about to say, but simply to honor the great Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. This James Madison team is very experienced, especially on defense. And even before they made the jump up to FBS, Division One FBS level, they weren't afraid to play big boys then. So they're no stranger to playing Power 4 teams. They're no stranger to beating Power 4 teams. The thing that concerns me about Louisville, and I've gone on other podcasts and said this, that I believe in Louisville. I believe in Jeff Brom. I think he's a quarterback whisperer, and I think they've got a shot of making some noise this season in their conference. However, they had 3 turnovers and 12 penalties for over 100 yards against Eastern Kentucky. The Dukes ain't no Eastern Kentucky. I think James Madison covers that 13.5. I don't think this is a sprinkle on the money line. I do think Louisville wins the game, but I think it's closer than the experts think. Shout out to Coach Corso. And that's the only play I have for Friday. Anything else Friday that jumps out at you, Josh? I know there's some mismatches and huge lines and a lot of smaller schools playing the big boys this weekend. So I don't have anything else for the Friday slate.
No, I don't have anything else for Friday.
Okay. I take that back. I didn't realize this. I put this under my Saturday game. So actually, I do. All right, we got to back the bus up here for a minute. That's my fault. I put these under Saturday. I have Maryland minus 17.5 against Northern Illinois. And this is a dropping the hammer, best bet, stone cold lock. Malik Washington, the quarterback for Maryland, looked really good last week, and it was all throwing the ball. He only had one rush in that game. Northern Illinois struggled to beat Holy Cross, and they only scored one touchdown on offense. Their other touchdown came on a kick return. I think Maryland absolutely lays the wood to Northern Illinois and just beats the brakes off of them. So Maryland minus 17.5. That's one of my best bets. And then also on Friday, Virginia is catching 2.5 points against NC State. Now, we said last week that NC State shouldn't be favored against anybody. And I think the wrong team is favored here. I think Chandler Norris, the quarterback for Virginia, is pretty solid, and I think he's going to cook this NC State team because East Carolina lit up NC State secondary for 383 yards last week. So I think Virginia may be better than a lot of us had thought beginning of the season. So I'm going to take Virginia plus 2.5 as my best bet, but I'm also going to bet Virginia money line because I think they just win this game outright. I just think they're a better team. I think they're better coached. I don't care where they could play it on the moon. It doesn't make any difference. NC State shouldn't be favored in this game. So could be a ratty line. I don't know, but I feel pretty confident with what Virginia is bringing into Raleigh. So now, Josh, I apologize. Now we can move to Saturday. So what you got cooking for the Saturday slate?
All right, first game I'm going to kick it off with. We got two Big 12 teams kicking off Saturday on the CW network, Baylor and SMU. I like two plays in this game. I like SMU laying the 2.5, and I like the over 64.5. So SMU in their first game, they gave up 13 points to Texas A&M Commerce. That is a lower, like, D2 school. I don't know if they're D2 or not, but 13 points. And Baylor just gave up touchdown after touchdown against Auburn. And I don't see how these two teams score at least 70 points in this game. I think we see a shootout in this game, and I like SMU minus 2.5. I think Kevin Jennings leads the Mustangs to a big victory against Baylor.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. That's a play that I've kind of looked at, and I want to dig into it a little bit more because I actually feel like SMU should be favored by more than a field goal.
I agree with that. Yeah. What do you think about the over? Do you think that's about the right line, 64.5?
I'm going to have to give you an I don't know on that. Let me look into that a little more, and maybe by Friday I'll have an answer for you. High level, I would say, yeah, I think it's in play because we saw how Baylor just bled points to Auburn. And a lot of us, you and I included, kind of got surprised by that. Did not expect Auburn to roll the way they did. So I do feel like that could be in play. Yeah. I'll have to look at it closer though because I don't have a intelligent answer to give you right now.
And one more thing before I get to my next game. One thing about SMU, if I was them, I would look at Auburn's game tape against Baylor, and I would run their quarterback every single play they can, Kevin Jennings, run up the middle, and that's what Jackson Arnold did for Auburn Friday night against Baylor last Friday.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even in college football, if you can't stop the run, you can't win.
Right.
You have to be able to control the line of scrimmage, and the teams are just gashing you on the ground. You're gonna have a hard time beating anybody.
Right.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now on FanDuel, the live odds. Yeah, 2.5 favor of SMU, and the 63.5 total is -108 to the under, -112 to the over. So Vegas thinks it's going to fall pretty close to that number. So
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that a little more before I can give an intelligent answer. But
Okay.
as we like to say, though, in the betting community, life's too short to bet the under, right?
Yeah.
So
Life's too short to bet the under.
that's right. So points, points, points. That's what we love.
In my second play for Saturday, we are going to Ames, Iowa. Iowa State. I like Iowa State laying -3. If you can get 2.5, that would be great. But I think Matt Campbell and Iowa State are playing really good football the first 2 games or first 2 weeks. And I was looking at a stat with Iowa in their game last week. They brought this quarterback in, Gronkowski, from South Dakota State, I believe, FCS school, and they only had 68 or 70 passing yards last Saturday. That's crazy. And they said they want to pass the ball more this season. I like Iowa State laying the 3. If you can get it to 2.5, great. But I like Iowa State laying the -3.
In this game, I have this game in play as well. When the line opened, I think it was 3.5. And this is a war. They hate each other. All these kids got recruited, to
Right.
both schools and all this stuff. So, typical in-state rivalry type game. I wasn't touching it at 3.5.
Yeah.
FanDuel has it at 2.5 right now at -122.
Good.
They also have the under at 42.5. This game, going all the way back to 2018, has not broken 40 points except one time in 2021.
Wow.
I have heard all summer long from these cornbread eaters that we got a quarterback. Iowa's finally got a quarterback.
Yeah.
They don't. They got a guy that went 8 for 15 for 44 yards against, checks notes, Albany.
Yep.
Their entire offense is predicated around the run, slowing the tempo down to a snail's pace, and trying to play good defense. Well, they do play good defense.
Yeah.
They're not going to run wild against this Iowa State front seven. Not happening. Their secondary is a little suspect. It won't matter. Dude can't throw the ball downfield. Reminds me of another quarterback in a 4-letter school. I like Iowa State -2.5. I like the under 42.5. And I don't know what Iowa's team total is. I may look into that as well and make that an official play. But I'm all in on Iowa State in this game. I am right there with you. I do not see a scenario where Iowa wins this game, short of Rocco Beck getting hurt, going out of the game. I don't see it happening. It'll be sloppy. It'll be ugly. It'll be a rock fight. But Iowa State wins.
I like it. And in my third play, we are going to Lexington, Kentucky. We're going to Kroger Field. Yep. Give me Ole Miss laying -10. You can look at this, say it's a revenge spot whenever Ole Miss lost at home against Kentucky last year. But I don't think it's a revenge spot. I think Lane Kiffin is just going to look at this as another SEC game. I think Ole Miss gets it done in Kroger Field, Rebels win by at least 3 or 4 scores, and they're going to cash in on their double field points.
Well, they should get 4 times fuel points for this
4
because
times. Yeah.
this is another stone cold Irish hammer best bet lock it in play. Ole Miss by 1,000,000.
Yes.
You don't have to look any further than the stat line for Kentucky's receivers last week against Toledo. Now, I did bet Toledo to win outright. They did not.
Yeah.
But they covered that 9.5. They won.
They did.
They only lost by 8. Kentucky's wide receivers had 4 catches for 12 yards last week against Toledo. Zach Calzada, the latest quarterback savior in the long line of suck-ass quarterbacks that Kentucky has brought in, had exactly 85 yards passing.
Yep.
Against Toledo. Ole Miss is going to roll in this game.
Yep.
I do also, however, like the under 50.5 because Kentucky can't score enough points to get this game to 50.
Yep.
They suck something terrible. That win last week was an aberration. Kentucky is well on its way to a 4-8 season, and Lane Kiffin kicks it off for them in Lexington Saturday.
Yep. And I think Austin Simmons has a field day in this game. I think he's going to pass for about 270, maybe 300 yards. I think this might put him on the map that, like, gets him noticed, gets him in the Heisman contention. I just think he has a field day Saturday against the Wildcats.
Yeah, and I know there's a ton of transfers on this Ole Miss team, but that's kind of become Lane Kiffin's calling card. Like he's sort of turning into that, that guy that just goes out and brings in big-time players. And, he gets his guys that fit his system, and he's just successful with it. So, yeah, I don't see Kentucky in any way, shape, or form covering this number. They can't score enough points.
Yeah. All right, 4th game, we are going to Columbia, Missouri, Kansas versus Missouri. I'm looking at a play on the board. I like the over 50.5 in this game. Jalen Daniels, Bo Prabula. I think both offenses are going to shine in this game. I don't think defenses are going to make a stop in this game. So give me the over. I like 50.5 in this game. I think both offenses are going to put up fireworks in this game.
All right. I've got to play on this game as well. And this hurts my heart. I'm going to go full screen here so people can feel the emotion that's about to pour out of me. It's painstaking to make this pick because me and a couple of my running buddies on Twitter love to cook Missouri fans week in and week out. I'm not making this an official play because I just can't bring myself to put money on Missouri. But I think Missouri wins this game -6.5. They cover. And, Josh, unfortunately, the reason that I think this is the case is Kansas has got some issues right now. Now, I know they beat up on a couple of, lesser teams, but in their first 2 games, they've had 15 penalties, and they're 6 of 20 on 3rd down. Missouri's bringing back somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 or 8 starters on defense from last year. And I know Sam Horn got injured. I don't know what his status is. I haven't seen an official report on his availability for Saturday or not. But Missouri at home is tough. this defense is solid. And Kansas, I think, sometimes can't get out of their own way. So I'm no official play, but I'm looking at Missouri to cover at -6.5.
I don't mind it. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that over 50.5 in that game?
I think it's low. I mean, because we just talked about the Ole Miss Kentucky game being at 50.5, and both of the offenses in the border war can score.
Yeah.
Dynamic quarterback for Kansas. If Sam Horn plays, you got a solid quarterback in Missouri. There's only one offense that can move the ball. I mean, my God, Kentucky didn't even have 100-yard passing. So if the Ole Miss Kentucky game is 50.5, I certainly think that Missouri and Kansas can get there. I mean, even if it's 27-24, there's your cover.
Right.
So firmly believe that that's going to be that's definitely in play in that game.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw one out there. It's a little bit of a heavier line than I normally like to play, but I like Pitt -22.5 against Central Michigan. Pitt absolutely roasted Duquesne last week, 61-9. But the thing that stood out to me the most was Pitt's defense. Duquesne only had 37 yards on 31 carries in that game. Well, guess what Central Michigan likes to do? They like to run the football. And the only reason they won last week was San Jose State missed 2 field goals, either of which would have given them the win. So Central Michigan was very fortunate in that game and did a little digging on this as well. Central Michigan's got a very young offensive line, a lot of underclassmen on that O-line. And I know it was Duquesne, but Pitt looked like a machine. And I think their defense is good enough to absolutely stifle Central Michigan running the football. And 22.5, that is a lot of points. But I think Pitt can shut down Central Michigan's offense, and I think they can score in the 30s and cover this line without much trouble.
All right. So my next play, I am going to Eugene, Oregon. Oregon is taking on Oklahoma State.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Oregon first quarter -7.5. I think it's going to be a long day for Mike Gundy and the Pokes. I think Dante Moore and the Oregon offense lighted up in the first half. So give me Oregon -7.5 first quarter.
Yeah, I don't think Mike Gundy's made too many friends across the world of college football. He's entertaining. I'll give him that. He's a man. He's 58. But I agree. I think Oregon is going to absolutely rout them. That is not a very good football team in Stillwater. I'm amazed, honestly, that Gundy is still there. I don't know if it's lack of options or if it's just they don't feel like firing him right now. I don't know. I'm kind of surprised he still has a job there. But I agree. In first quarter, I mean, you're talking 2 scores, right? A touchdown, a field goal wins that bet.
Right.
So I don't hate it. I think that's a good way to look at that because I agree. I think Oregon comes out firing early. I think they want to establish control of that game from the onset. It's at home. We know how Autzen Stadium is. We know the success Oregon has there. So that's a great call. I like it.
I didn't want to go full game or first half because it was too big of a number.
It is, yeah. And I mean, granted, it's still a P4 team, right? I mean, we're still talking about a Power 4 conference opponent.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't like laying a lot of lumber with some of those. So that's a good way to look at it. I know a lot of people shy away from like first half or first quarter
Yeah,
type bets, but oftentimes there's a lot of value there, and sometimes you can catch some pretty
there
good
is.
numbers. So that's a good deep dive on that. What else you got for
Next
Saturday?
next play, we are headed to Cincinnati, Ohio. Cincinnati taking on Bowling Green. So Cincinnati, they looked okay in their first game against Nebraska. Brendan Sorsby didn't look too good passing the ball, but looked really good running the ball against Nebraska. So I'm laying it with Cincinnati minus 21 and a half. I think Brendan Sorsby has a better game this week, and I think the Cincinnati Bearcats cover that 21 and a half.
All right, very good. I like it. Um, I'd like 20 and a half better than 21 and a half. But
I agree.
I think either way, I think that's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
What else you got? I got two left. What do you got?
I got a couple ones before I get to my big play.
Okay.
I'm fading Trent Dilfer. I got Navy minus 21 against UAB, and UTSA laying the floor against Texas State. I think they play a lot better after coming off that game against Texas A&M Saturday, and I think they cover that number against Texas State.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have a lot of confidence in UAB or Trent Dilfer as a coach. I know he's got a Super Bowl ring and all, but let's be honest, it wasn't Trent
Yeah.
Dilfer that won that Super Bowl.
All right.
But I
You want my?
do.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I do think that's the right play. I don't see them being competitive in many games this season. They certainly won't be competitive in one in a couple weeks. All right, my last two, and again, it's another one of those that I hate to even bring up. But we got a nice little in-state rival down in the state of Florida this week too, and that is the South Florida Bulls against them Gators. 17.5-point spread in favor of Florida. The point total is at 55.5 or 56.5. Either way, I don't think it matters. I like the over in this game, and I like South Florida to cover that 17.5 points. I think Byron Brown is special. I think he'll give Florida's defense fits. And I can't believe I'm about to say this, but if Lagway can be mobile and can make enough throws to keep that defense kind of off balance, I think they can score some points. I think we see more of a shootout in this game versus what we saw South Florida do to Boise last week. I think they were fortunate that they got 3 turnovers. I don't know that they'll be fortunate to get those turnovers this time. So I think Florida gets more possessions than Boise did, and I think there's more points scored. I'm going to take the over 55 or 56, whatever it is, and I still think South Florida covers the 17.5. And my last play is the Sam Houston State and Hawaii game. Now, we saw Sam Houston State opening week, and defense looked a little rough, especially their pass defense. It looked bad. But Micah Alahado, the phenom quarterback from Hawaii, is injured. Their backup is a JUCO transfer that came in the game and threw 2 picks, got sacked, and lost a fumble. Even though that pass defense is a little suspect, I think they've got enough offense to cover a touchdown. So the line was 7.5 when I bet this early this morning. It has now dropped to 6.5. It opened at 8.5. So the betting market in Vegas definitely responding to Alejado being out of this game. And I think it plays right into Sam Houston being able to cover this game within a touchdown. So Sam Houston plus 7.5, it's now 6.5 against Hawaii. So what have you got for your coup de grace?
All right, I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 5 more plays. I'm gonna do my
5 more. My bad.
I'm gonna do my hammer play last. So
Okay.
my first one, I like USC first half minus 17.5 in full game minus 28.5 against Georgia Southern. Clay Helton returning to USC. Some people say this could be a revenge spot, but I don't believe so. Jaden Maiva is going to light it up again this week.
Mm-hmm.
Jacoby Lane and Malachi Lemon are going to be catching touchdown after touchdown. So give me the Trojans first half minus 17.5 and full game minus 28.5. Next game, we head to Blacksburg, Virginia. I think the Hokies are going to get a bounce back win after losing to South Carolina. And I think Diego Paviachik is going to go crying home to Nashville as a loser. So give me Virginia Tech on the money line to get it done against the Commodores. Next game, Next game, we are going to Norman, Oklahoma. Big game in this one. College Game Day's headed here for this one. I like Michigan catching 4.5 against Oklahoma. I think this Oklahoma team has problems. I think their offensive line isn't good like last year. They didn't take care of the offensive line in the offseason. And I like Bryce Underwood to go in the Norman and cover that 4.5 and Shamar Moore. Next game, we got a big one right here. Western Kentucky and Toledo, two big Power 4 teams. Give me the Hilltoppers catching 7 against Toledo. And last but not least, my hammer on this one, we head to Fayetteville, Arkansas. The Razorbacks taking on Butch Jones in the Arkansas Red Wolves. So 2 hammers in this game. We are going Razorbacks first half minus 13.5. I have 1 unit on that one. And Arkansas full game minus 23.5. 2 units. Laying the hammer. Taylon Green to Omega Blake all game. Taylon Green to Raylan Sharp all game. They're going to have Butchie Boy taking down his pants after the game. Arkansas by 5 scorers against Butchie Boy, life champions, Redwood.
Woo, Josh bringing some heat in the Arkansas game. I like it. There's your little Butch Jones background for you there, Josh.
Yep. Brick by brick.
Arkansas is going to take down the Red Wolves and Lyle Jones and company. Holy cow, I'm fired up now. I may have to bet that.
Yeah.
My coup de grace this week actually isn't a single play. It's going to be a parlay. Because when I saw these lines, I drove up to Tennessee yesterday, which it's only about a 20-minute drive. It's not like I, traversed 3 hours to make this bet. But when I saw the South Florida line, when I saw the Michigan-Oklahoma line, and I saw the Virginia-North Carolina State line, I thought, you got to be kidding me right now. So I've got Virginia plus 3.5. I've got South Florida plus 17.5. I have Michigan plus 6.5. And I have Sam Houston State plus 7.5. That is a plus 1,044 odds parlay.
Wow.
$25 bet pays $286.
I like it.
So that is right there. Let's put it up on the screen. Probably can't see it because everybody's watching on their phones these days. Plus 1,000 for 4 dogs barking, and one of them shouldn't be a dog. One of them should be favored.
Yeah.
So that's my not advising anybody to play that. I don't advise anybody to play parlays. I only give any leans towards straight bets because parlays, which I'm a believer in, and I play plenty of them, but I'm also the king of missed by one leg. So. But that's the 4 games that I looked at and just really felt good about putting together for some pretty good return. So, well, we have one Thursday night game tomorrow night, Josh. I don't want to get too deep in the NFL because that's got another show for that. But I did want to see if you had anything you liked, either a side, a total, a half, player prop, whatever, for the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles hosting the fighting Jerry Joneses, Micah Parsonless Dallas Cowboys.
I have a few plays in this game, actually.
Nice.
First play is a 2-leg same-game parlay plus 180. We're going with the Eagles to cover 8.5, and we're going with Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown. I think the Eagles are going to cover this spread. I don't see a backdoor cover by the Cowboys. I just see the Eagles defense playing good all night long, and I think the Eagles offense is going to pick off where they left off from the Super Bowl last year. So give me the Eagles to cover 8.5, and give me Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown with a brotherly shove.
Yep. Hard not to bet on Jalen to get the tush push across the goal line. I bet this game in May when the line first came out, and I got Philly at minus 7.5. Sticking with that, I think they win by 10 or more, just being frank, because Dallas has got 2 problems. 1, they cannot run the football, and 2, they can't stop the run. So that plays right into Philly's hands. You're playing at home, defending champ, Thursday night standalone game, all eyes on me. There is no way, no shot that Philly doesn't win this game. Like you, I've also got a nice little parlay that I cooked up, little small profit boost I picked up from FanDuel. I've got Saquon Barkley as an anytime touchdown scorer. I've got an either scorer, either A.J. Brown or CeeDee Lamb to score a touchdown. I've got Dak over 200 yards on an alt passing play, and I've got Saquon over 60 yards rushing on an alt play. It's a little small payout, plus 362 odds, but $10 will get you $46.27. And I just felt like I wanted to get a little something in there for Thursday night. I do have a few other ones cooked up that I'm not sharing on here. I'll be glad to when they cash, but I'm not posting them because I stay away from sharing too many props because people like to blame me for guys getting hurt or the game script not going to plan. So I just don't. I've had multiple people ask me, and I just don't. I'm not going to. So that may be the one and only that you folks see the whole year.
I got 2 more I want to share with the people. One is an NFL and one is a college football, kind of like a parlay, like a division type.
Okay, sure.
First one, we got Saquon Barkley minus 185 anytime touchdown score on DK. And if you go over to DK, anybody who's listening to this, you can get his odds boosted to plus 100.
That's right.
Max limit bet of $25. So I like Saquon anytime touchdown.
Yep, same here. I'm taking that same play. I saw it this afternoon. Just wasn't able to get up to put it in, but I'll
Right.
find a way because that's basically free money. You're basically taking the odds at 2-1 and turning them into plus 100. That's a no-brainer. So, yeah, I will max bet that as well.
In my college play, I wanted to share with the people. We got 5 teams to make the conference championship, not win it, but to make it.
Yes.
73-1 play.
Woo!
Clemson to reach the ACC championship at minus 110 odds. Second leg, Penn State to reach the Big Ten championship plus 100 odds. Third one, Georgia to reach the SEC championship plus 135 odds. Navy to reach the American Athletic Conference plus 150 odds. And last leg, Iowa State to reach the Big 12 championship plus 230 odds. I put 10 on it. It would pay $740.
Will you just go ahead and screenshot that, send that over to me?
I will do.
Because I'll be tailing that. I didn't see anything
Nice.
in there that I didn't like. So that's a great job. Way to pick that out. I did some conference winners with Luce a couple of weeks ago, and
Nice.
I just want to drop one out here that I got a lot of ooh.
Yeah.
I bet LSU at plus 600 to win the SEC. Still not saying I have a lot of faith in Brian Kelly, but I wanted to take a long shot out of each conference, and I picked LSU at plus 600. They certainly looked the part on Saturday against Clemson. We'll see how it continues to play out, but the thing that I think certainly surprised me and a lot of people I've talked to over the past few days is LSU's defense looked like it was back. So if LSU can continue to play defense at a high level, they've got a pretty good quarterback. LSU could make some noise. We may have to face LSU in the SEC championship game this year. So,
Hammer, before we end the show, what are your thoughts from the Vols in them after the first game against Syracuse?
I feel like there were some things that obviously need to clean up, but we got a little sloppy tackling later in the game. And I felt like second half we gave up a lot of underneath stuff in the flat and, kind of those intermediate passes that Syracuse took advantage of. And I think Joey played as well as certainly anybody could have expected, because we had all the hype, and I'm certainly a fan and a believer. Love his mentality. Obviously, there was a few times he got a little high with the ball, but as they pointed out throughout the game repeatedly, is that's something that Coach Heupel and Coach Halsey are working on, and that's something that can be corrected. I think part of it was nerves, and not nerves as in scared, nerves as in big stage, bright lights. That crowd ain't nothing compared to what he's going to see Saturday, but a big crowd. App State doesn't have crowds like that. So I think there was a lot of positives to take away from it. I think our front seven is as good or better than advertised. I think we're going to have to get healthy at a couple positions because we can't afford injuries in the secondary for certain. And we started piling up some injuries on the D line. And I know we've got 8 or 9 guys that Coach Heupel has confidence in, but we don't need to start stacking injured bodies in week 1 and 2. So I think this week, this isn't just a gravy laydown team. They'll fight. But ETSU, you rolled into Knoxville back in the spring and stole one from our baseball team. we returned the favor by taking your best pitcher, but you still got a little penance to pay. So I feel like that Josh will put up enough points to get comfortable to where he can turn it over to the defense and maybe some second and third string players on offense and get ready for the dogs that are coming the following week. So I feel really good about what I saw. I'm not going to get into rankings and all that crap because I don't care until October. I know a lot of people lost their mind over that, and that's fine. I mean, if you buy into that and, want to rant and rave, I mean, we always got to have something to be pissed off about as Tennessee fans, so might as well be that. I think after the Georgia game, we'll know exactly how good our football team is and where we're going to need to either improve or where we're going to need to continue to focus to win football games. So all in all, I would say that's probably a B-plus game in my opinion. I felt like they played well across the board. A few hiccups, which I would expect in the first game, and nothing I don't think we can't clean up. We just got to stay healthy.
Yeah, I agree with that, Hammer. And I was really impressed by Colton Hood and Jalen McMurray stepping up in the cornerback position this past Saturday.
Yeah, that was, obviously a big concern with, of course, Jamar McCoy's injury and then the situation that is Boo Carter. So we didn't really know what we were going to get, but I 100% agree. I definitely think both those guys stepped up. And Hood is as good as advertised. I mean, he's a solid player back there, and he's aggressive. And I like it. Yeah, there's a couple. I think he got away with a couple. Little jersey grabs or whatever, but that's just a savvy player that can hide that and still make a play. So. And then, of course, the McMurray tip and the T-Lander interception was beautiful. And then Hood taking the fumble back for a touchdown, another great play. And I tell you, somebody else I like too was Jordan Ross. I liked his intensity.
Yeah.
We know Arian Carter and Jeremiah T-Lander are just headhunters, just athletic as everything. But Spillman looked good. Farouk looked good. I liked Robinson on the defensive line. I hope he's healthy. Certainly want to see Jackson Moy back. But man, Joshua Josephs, he did a lot of stuff that he won't see in the stat sheet.
Yep.
But he totally wrecked all game long. He's going to be a problem.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. So. Is it true? Do you think McCoy could be back for the Georgia game, Jermod McCoy?
It's hard to say because, Coach Heupel's very close to the vest on that stuff. So there's probably somebody better to ask than me because, unfortunately, I'm stuck down here in the Huntsville, Alabama area, so I don't have my ear as close to the ground on that. But what I have heard is that was the target. They were hoping he would be back. For the Georgia game. And based on what we've seen, a very small sample size, but based on what we've seen out of Georgia, we could definitely use his services in a couple weeks. So
yeah, we could.
Yeah.
Well, Hammer, it was fun breaking down week 2 college football games with you, man.
It's always a pleasure, man. I always enjoy your insight. You always seem to come up with those sneaky little first quarter, first half bets that I love.
Yeah,
and
you as well.
I look forward to posting some monster numbers again this week. We bring Luce in on Friday, and we're just gonna add to that and just keep stacking up money. 26-4, baby. 26-4. So
let's add on to it.
That's right. Well, Josh, again, thank you, sir. It's been my pleasure, and I look forward to us doing this again next week.
Sounds good, man.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you checking us out. Follow Josh over on Twitter. It's at JoshyBoy Tennessee. Of course, the Irish Hammer at Irish Hammer 71. And by all means, please subscribe to the podcast. Dropping the Hammer, you can find a link to it in my Twitter profile. And, we put out probably about 6 shows a week. So there's going to be something for everybody, whether it's college football, it's NFL football, it's fantasy football, sports betting, you name it. There'll be some goofball on here with this idiot behind the mic, and we just have a good old time. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for checking out. Thank you for the follows. Everybody have a great night.